I like using video in my classes because I think it turns drab into exciting. I use videos in my online, hybrid, and face-to-face classes to show students who I am, to show them what they need to do, to annotate a lecture to make it interesting, and to bring in guest speakers. I'm going to show you 4 brief clips of how I use these in my courses, and then I'm going to show you some ways that you can do them in your courses for free. The first way I use video is to communicate. This is particularly important in an online class, where students will tend to drop out if they don't feel a connection to the teacher and to the rest of the students. So I start off each week of class with a little video in which I set the goals and, most importantly, bring the students into that sense of community I'm trying to create. Here's a brief example.
Aloha. This week starts the first of our 2-week session on the judicial branch. This week you're going to be focusing on discovering the structure of the courts. What do state courts look like? What do the federal courts look like? And what do county courts look like?
Another way I use video is to demonstrate. I have prepared videos of websites that show specific information that I want my students to be able to access. This is a particular example of how to use our state legislature's website, and I'll show you a brief glimpse of this. So again, we start at capital.hawaii.gov, our legislature's website, and go down to Bill Status and Documents. We'll scroll down to the window where it talks about bills and resolution status, text, and committee reports. The default checkbox here is for status, but we looked at that last time. So now we're going to click the links for text, committee report, and testimony. I also use videos to elucidate. Here's a sample of a narrated PowerPoint that I put up. I put some of these up every week with pictures, with description that help the students to understand the concepts we're mastering. I'll let you listen in to my trial court PowerPoint. So, let's look at a trial court. Let's look at the setting, and that will give us clues to help us distinguish trial courts from appellate courts. Start from left to right. Look at the person sitting behind the bench. That's the judge. Notice how he's sitting back. His hands are folded across his chest. Look at the person towards the middle of the screen. That's the attorney. Notice how the attorney actually isn't talking to the judge at all. In fact, he has his back to him. Who's the attorney talking to? He's talking to the jury. And I also use videos in the same way that I would use guest speakers in my face-to-face classroom. With his permission, I recorded some presentations by our former head ICA judge, Jim Burns, and put them on the website. I'll let you listen in for just a few seconds.
You've heard about court of equity. Family court is a court of equity, as opposed to what they say court of law. Now, the proceedings in the family court are not public.
So, now that I've showed you 4 different ways that I use the videos I make, now comes the takeaway part. How can you do these back at your office? Please see the second video for that information. This original video had to be split in 2 to comply with YouTube formatting requirements.